We didn't know. That 78 years after the end of the war, forgotten by time.
捨てられた日本人なんですよ。忘れられてしまった機民です。
Our fellow countrymen still adrift.
Hindi willing kami na maging Japan. Talagang kami anak ng Hapon, ma'am.
All they can do is wait, hanging on to their last chance of hope. On the island of Mindanao, in the southern region of the Philippine Islands, is the city of Davao. At one time, there was a very prosperous Japanese inn on this street corner, and a modern department store called the Osaka Bazaar. Before the war, large numbers of Japanese immigrated to the Philippines and worked in the cultivation of hemp and other crops. Their numbers increased and peaked at 30,000. Many married local Filipino and started families. Carlos Teraoka was born to a Japanese father and a Filipino mother.
みんな仲良くやってました。日本人の同僚さんっていうのがたくさん来て、瞬く間に家を建てていました。
However, their happy lives suddenly changed. With the start of the war between Japan and the US, the Japanese army invaded the Philippines, which was then under US control. However, due to the overwhelming strength of the US military, the war situation gradually worsened for the Japanese army, and some Filipinos began staging guerrilla attacks against the Japanese soldiers. Japanese nationals living in the Philippines also became targets of the hostility of Filipinos. Having lost his father to illness, and with two older brothers conscripted into the Japanese army, 14-year-old Carlos Teraoka and his mother, two younger sisters, and a younger brother fled into the jungle.
日本人として残ると殺されますから危ないので、軍の行く方向のジャングルへ僕らも一緒に行きました。僕らは雑草を食べてました。それで命だけをつないでたんです。
Looking up at the sound of a rumbling roar, they saw enemy bombers.
突然一発ボーンという音がして、もう命中です。僕らがおるところに集中して落ちてきました。そこで母を亡くしました。で、弟と妹、心臓に破片が突き抜いてうつ伏せになって倒れました。
Carlos and his remaining sister continued to flee. They became prisoners of the US military 1 month after the war ended. And then, they received notice of the shocking deaths of their two older brothers, who had cooperated with the Japanese army.
長男はスパイの容疑で日本軍に銃殺されました。というのはタバコを友達からもらってアメリカタバコを吸ってた。次男はマニラから帰る途中にゲリラに捕まって首切られたって言ってました。
They were attacked by the Americans, accused of spying by the Japanese, and regarded as the enemy by Filipino society. His mother, younger sister, younger brother, and 2 older brothers were all killed by 3 different countries. The war came to an end. However, the war-displaced second-generation children of Japanese immigrants were faced with a new set of hardships.
Hapon, dugo namin, dugo nyo.
Pamphila Uehara lives on a small, remote island. Her younger sisters, Toyoko and Tomiko. The Uehara family lived in Manila when the war broke out. Thinking that his daughters would be killed by guerrillas if they found out their father was Japanese, he forbade them from using the name Uehara.
Opo. Nakita ko dami sila pero hindi namin alam kung ano yung masasabi. Ang tatay ko lang, tinawag nila na sumakay na dahil uwi na sila sa Japan.
Their father never returned. After the war, anti-Japanese sentiment continued and the girls could only complete grade school. They suffered in poverty.
Ako, nalagitan na. Nag-aral po. Doon na lang kami umiyak. Na sana makita namin na tatay ang kalagayan namin dito sa Lilopak. Pero wala kaming magawa sila.
And then, the children faced another daunting obstacle. The question of citizenship. At that time in the Philippines, the law specified that children shall have the nationality of their father. To complicate matters, their ties with their father's country were severed. As a result, they became stateless and were neither Filipino nor Japanese.
Pero sir, ang nahaguman namin, hindi po mo ninyo siguro na laman. Mahirap po ang nahaguman namin. Kung sabi ko na bubuhay lang tatay namin, siguro hindi kami makaranas ng ganito. Lord, na lang.
We want to be recognized as Japanese. This last hope continues for the Uehara sisters.
Hindi willing kami na maging Japan. Talagang kami anak ng Hapon, ma'am. Ay kung wala, hindi rin kami makakuha dito na kami anak ng Hapon. Nagpasalamat kami dahil dumating kayo na kami hinahanap ng Hapon. Kaya kami hindi nagsisisi ng anak ng Hapon.
Children were left behind with their Filipino mothers or as orphans. The truth of their hidden existence spread throughout the 7,500 islands of the Philippines, remained unknown for a long time. The Philippine Nikkei Jin Legal Support Center is a non-profit organization that helps stateless second-generation Japanese Filipinos in their efforts to regain their Japanese citizenship. They are visiting Lydia Morine, whose case has been under review for 9 years.
First name niya?
Kamato Morine.
Kamato. Sinabi na taga saan siya?
Taga Okinawa.
Very young at the time, Lydia does not speak Japanese. She also grew up hiding the fact that she is Japanese.
Ay pamato, kamato.
Ano daw? Ano sa Tagalog?
Parang nilulukan nila ako, ha? Pare ko kamato, pamato sa isda. Panili namin niya yung apelyido sa tatay. Ay baka patayin daw kami. Malaman na kami anak ng hapon.
Recalling stories she had heard from her Filipino mother, she tries her best to describe her father, who died during the war.
Meron siyang bigote. Kakunti lang daw nga wala.
Ano daw?
Ano na?
Kakunti lang ang walang bigote.
Konti lang daw po yung...
Isda. Meron siyang fishing boat.
With hardly any paved roads on this island, boats are a very important means of transportation. 2 of their 4 siblings have already passed away. Her older sister of 5 years lives on the opposite bank. Their father's name was Kamata Morine. He was from Okinawa, and he was a fisherman. Based on this testimony, they proceeded with their investigation and came upon passport records of a Kamata Morine of Okinawa who traveled to the Philippines before the war. They also found the marital record of their mother at the town hall in the Philippines. Her husband is listed as Kamata Marino, Japanese. It is quite similar to Kamata Morine. It may have been a case where the name was misheard. If it can be proven that they are the same person, it could lead to the identification of their father, and their citizenship could be restored. Still, they are told that they need more evidence.
であと保守関係を今度証明するものを、彼らが準備しなきゃいけないと。これがねまだちょっと時間かかる我々サポートしなきゃいけないと思います。Bakit gusto mo magiging Haponesa?
Ay, yung tatay ko Hapones. Ay, siyempre yung dugo ko.
The 2 women must prove that they were born the daughters of Kamata Morine. Today, the annual assembly of the Filipino-Japanese Society is being held in Davao City. There is dancing and singing. The hall is filled with the energy of 2nd to 4th generation Japanese Filipinos. They are joined by 6 stateless 2nd generation members. Their thoughts soar to their distant homeland. Prior to our coverage of this event, we had experts colorize some pre-war photographs of Japanese immigrants. We showed the resulting colorized photos to the participants.
The one who are holding a samurai is a high-ranking official.
If these soldiers are defenders in wireless elementary school, perhaps our grandfather is here.
Their fellow countrymen, who had put down roots in a foreign land and lived every day vigorously, are surely pictured here. The application for restoration of Japanese citizenship is handled by an attorney.
2本目、春子。証拠ほとんどバッチシだよね。
バッチリですよね。
He presents the collected evidence to the Japanese family court and awaits their judgment. It has been 20 years since investigations began. In that time, 304 people have had their citizenship restored. However, many had lost their documents to fire during the war, making collecting evidence very difficult.
鎌田さんって言って森根鎌田、草かむりの鎌に太いで、この人の住所が
The Morine sisters have no documents to prove their relationship to their father. If this is the case, can they look for their relatives in Japan? Investigations begin anew. They have landed in Okinawa. They found passport records for Kamata Morine, who came from Okinawa, just as Lydia and Esperanza Morine said in their testimony. They first head to the home address noted in the record.
この辺ですかね、地図的に。それかそっちか。
It turned out to be an abandoned lot. In search of clues, they went to the prefectural library where there was a database of information on Okinawan immigrants. Searching for Kamata Morine.
2回フィリピンに行ってるってことですか?
He returned to the Philippines 5 years after his first trip. The purpose of his trip was to return for the fishing industry. This matches the sisters' testimony that their father was a fisherman. What is more, we found that Kamata had a younger brother. That brother had also traveled to the Philippines.
弟さんの家族が生存していて、そして、その自分の王子にあたる、鎌田さんがフィリピンに渡り、そして、家族を持っていたということが証言が得られると、大きな、国籍回復の一つの証拠になるかなと。親族からの証言。
They later found that Kamata's younger brother's grandchild lives in Naha and were able to contact him. Yes, my grandfather did travel to the Philippines. As for my great-uncle Kamata, I heard that he went to the Philippines and was killed in the war. I would like to share these images of Lydia and her sister to the next generation of our family. This is a great step forward in their hope to recover their Japanese citizenship. It's been 78 years since the end of the war. They do not have much time left. There were 1,069 stateless 4 years ago, but a recent survey found that the number had dwindled to 493. The sudden start of the war destroyed the peaceful lives of Carlos Teraoka's family, and 5 of his family members were killed by the American military, Filipino guerrillas, and the Japanese army. For many years, Carlos has continued to seek a relief settlement for the second generation stateless Japanese Filipinos living in the Philippines.
戦争があったからこそ巻き込まれて大変な目にあった。それを日本政府は助けてくれなかった。捨てられた日本人なんですよ。忘れられてしまった。棄民です。ほとんどの人が90歳以上を超えてます。国籍を何とかして日本人として決めてもらえればこの人たちも全部助かると思います。
Three sisters living on an outlying remote island. They pray for their Japanese citizenship to be restored to them. Tomiko shows us where her mother lies in repose.
Para palagyan kung anak mo na. Nagiging mga pumitatagip ka na mo.
Proof of their existence. Their hearts cry out for help one last time.